Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our separate studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. You can find all of our information at heartlandmamas.com for previous episodes and to reach out and contact us with ideas or if you want to be on the show. So today, Marie, we're going to be talking about all of the protests, all of the marches that are going on right now in honor of George Floyd. So,
Heidi, we have both seen a lot. I mean, everyone in the world has seen a lot over the last week, and it is heart-wrenching and devastating and despicable, and we need change. We need systemic change. And you and I talked in our pre-show about what we can do. Two white girls from the middle of the heartland, and how can we amplify how can we be allies? How can we fight?
right.
And we're committed to that. So we're definitely going to do a 3-part show talking about these issues, particularly what's going on right now. But the death of George Floyd was ridiculous. The officer not only did what he did it in such a cavalier manner, and he knew he was being recorded, and he didn't care. Depraved indifference, that arrogance, I think even made what is already a crisis of epic magnitude that much worse. So
Yes.
Protests started popping up, and I gotta tell ya, my son got a message from sisters that go to a high school nearby, and said, protest tomorrow. It was late that night.
What was it, like 2-3 days after George Floyd's death?
Right. It was 2 days after. Protest for his life. Within 48 hours, we had 400 people with signs dressed in black that covered all the corners of a busy state highway in Plainfield, where there has never been a protest since ever. Plainfield is like the home of the KKK. We really don't have a good history here, and to see that was amazing.
Yeah.
To be a part of it. To know that 300 of those 400 people were young people under the age of 20.
Right.
And to see the impact that it had. My niece was driving home from work, and she has a biracial son, and she was in the midst of dealing with everything that's going on, not to mention her daily fear that her son will be attacked because of the color of his skin, and as he grows older, how does she keep him safe? He's still little. And on her way home from work, she took a picture. She saw us protesting. And she sent me a message and said, "You have no idea what that did to my heart. Thank you for fighting when I couldn't be there." And that wasn't the only one that we received message. And that's the power of a protest.
Yeah.
That's the power of an organic, pure movement. Now, you went to an amazing one yesterday, right?
Well, I was in, all around me, there's been people trying to organize something. And then there's been some really wonderful, most of these real organic ones in my area have been started by students, not by activists like me. They've been started by young people. And I was invited to one in LaSalle, Illinois, which is a small town, part of LaSalle, Peru, Twin Cities, out by us. And remarkable that it is a Twin City like Minneapolis, like where George Floyd was killed. And we gathered together, and I have to tell you, there was a lot of scuttlebutt. Oh, it's going to go bad. People are going to be bringing guns. And I thought, this is LaSalle. It's a tiny town. It's a quiet town. It's a peaceful town, and it is a racially diverse town. So the young people that started it, that organized it, there was probably 280 to 300 people there in this small town. Racially diverse for our community. LaSalle County is predominantly white. LaSalle does have a more colorful residency. So we had a really good mix of people there, mostly young people, some old activists like me. And we walked through the town. The police had cordoned off the block so that we would be able to walk safely. They wanted to march for George Foreman's life, marched for change, and protest his death. So that was their message. And when we got to the courthouse there in LaSalle, for 9 minutes, people either took a knee or laid down prostrate with their hands behind their back. The young people of color were front and center. They're the ones that took the lead on this. And I knelt on one knee with my 59-year-old knees, facing them so I could observe, but also participate. I was so moved, Marie, that you know me. I'm always ready to drop into prayer, but I can cry at the drop of a hat. I was sobbing. I just saw all these young people who aren't white like me prostrate like that, with their hands behind their backs. And I thought to myself, this is their reality. This is the reality that they live with every damn day. And it's not fair for them to be 16 years old, 20 years old, and know that the color of their skin means that they have to take a submissive position just to survive. That's wrong. These are intelligent, driven, passionate young people that deserve every chance that I got as a white girl growing up in affluent Glen Ellen, Illinois. They don't deserve to be treated like that. And shame on anybody, our police force, our criminal justice system, our president, for denying them their basic human right to exist in peace. So I sat there crying like I am now.
Hey, this is a topic that is emotionally charged. This is
I can't.
a topic, no matter where you fall. But you made a really good point about the fear that was ahead of this protest, about the rumors that it was going to be wild and crazy and out of control, and where does that come from?
That comes from the right,
from the unconscious bias of the narrative that the black man is violent. Black man is going to rape your white women. That lie, that false ideology has been ingrained in almost every fiber of our fabric.
Honey, that's how they kept the slaves. That's how they get.
Those that don't understand that.
This dates back to 1649 when the first slaves were brought over here. That the slave ship people, the people that brought those slaves to sell, told the colonists, these black men will be so enthralled and so attracted to your white women, you have to be careful with them. You have to treat them like, dominate them. You have to make sure that they can be murdered and whipped and beaten within an inch of their life if they look the wrong way at a white woman. Look at what happened to Emmett Till, and that was made up. That was made up. And Emmett Till, who was just a child, was beaten to death. Beaten to death for looking at a white woman. We talk a lot about how women's issues are the whore Madonna problem. This is the same systemic racism, the same exact issue. How to dominate, how to subvert, how to crush the life and the soul out of somebody to get them to submit and to get others to go along with it. That's the problem, Marie, is when you get others to go along with it. Those 3 policemen that watched him be murdered, that watched George Floyd be murdered, are just as damn guilty. Ask my son, the only time he ever got spanked in his life is when he saw the neighbor boy kill a kitten in front of him. And I said, you never stand there and watch. You never stand there and watch. You always get involved, and you always do the right thing. And he's never made that mistake again. He was 3 or 4 when that happened.
And that's what protests are really all about, Heidi. I think it's about, like you said, don't sit back and watch.
No, you're just as guilty when you do.
And see the world burn at your fingertips. Mm-hmm. That's not what you need to do. Inaction is equivalent to complicity, and complicity is equivalent to guilt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you don't take action, when you don't march, and I don't mean vandalize and set fire and loot, that's not protesting. That's being a dick. But when you see something, you say something. And when you can do something, you do something. You march, you wear a sign, you protest, you write to your congressman. My congressman is a tone deaf moron, but you do something. You do something to make a difference. You don't sit back. And you don't rest on your white privilege.
Doing something, we have an amazing. There are so many resources out there, but there's one that we're going to really hit on and talk in another episode about what we can do to be an ally.
Right.
But right now, you are exactly right. Check with your police department. Do you know if LaSalle County or the Marseilles Police or the Ottawa Police are required? Do they have body cams?
I don't know that in my own community, and I'll find out. I imagine with the budgets being what they are, I'm not sure. So I'll find it.
And then we need to find out if they have body cams, if it's mandatory that they activate them upon any interaction.
Yeah, I think in Atlanta just got fired for somebody got shot and body cams. Yeah, body cams were off. And we know that that's part of that code of silence that allows this to happen. The 2 officers that were let go were black. It was black on black violence. And that happens too. People are violent when you can be at peace. Peace and progress go together.
And violence is never the answer. I think that's what we're supposed to say, and it isn't. And looting is stupid,
wrong.
And rioting is stupid. And I think by now enough people have heard, and it's gotten out that what they're seeing isn't real. But I want to bring up a video that Trump posted, and it shows a white man in his maybe late 20s, early 30s, dressed in black, and you get this 5-second clip of him in the middle of a protest in New York, and a black man to his front and a younger black man behind him. The younger black man comes up to him and he says, "Hey, there's stuff all over. I want you to go get it. Go get everything and bring it back here. Go make sure the picnic table is cleared off to put it." Trump billed that as if they were looting and it was designed by Antifa. And guess what? That clip, if you watch it for the full 15 seconds, that guy was an organizer. And those black gentlemen were volunteers. They were collecting all the water and food that people had brought in and bringing it to a central place to clean it up and get it out of the way.
Right.
They were volunteering to make it better, yet we twisted that information.
Not we.
We twisted that narrative. No. Well, I say we because, quite honestly, we stand up, we speak up. Many people we know speak up, but as a society, we're a country, and there's a lot that don't. And God damn it, it's about time you started to. Well, I have to.
The social justice reform in this country starts with white people, because we have our colonial privilege that was given to us at the point of a gun. The fear of the black man and the strong woman comes from colonial times where keeping them in control allowed the white men to flourish. Now the slavery has ended. Women are still fighting for our equal rights, but we can't be in that colonial mentality any longer, people. We have to evolve or we will die. And we will die because we deserve it, because we didn't evolve.
Heidi. You mean we're not supposed to dominate the battle space?
Oh my God, dominate the battle space. God damn that phrase.
Protesters. So, we hit on why protesting can be so incredibly powerful. Not just for you, how moved you were, but how people reached out to me to thank us for being there when they couldn't, and how moved they were.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in it, and there's so much power in the camaraderie and the caring and the emotion.
Right.
And there's a lot more of that. But then you got these jackasses, and you've got the boogaboo lulu boogaboo. What the fuck are those jackasses that commandeered the Hawaiian shirts called?
Boogaloo boys, and they've ruined my Hawaiian shirt Fridays forever now. And don't forget the Black Bloc. They're in on it too. you
Look
know.
at our friend Dave Carino, our union operator friend Dave Carino, who always wears his Hawaiian
I
shirts.
know he does
It's
Hawaiian shirt
good
Friday
now,
too, and would never be a
right?
Boogaloo boy because he is just amazing.
But he has had his Hawaiian shirts co-opted. I mean, when the state of Hawaii issues concerns and warnings that their logo, their whole vacation paradise commerce hinges on the symbol of the Hawaiian shirt, and you have Proud Boys, they issued declarations. They're trying to get Congress to make it known that they are not a part of that. They're being associated with it, and they're terrified of what that will do
You know, and
to their brand, to their
well,
state.
listen, Murray, the white supremacists, the alt right, has co-opted everything from bed sheets to Hawaiian shirts. They can't
I know.
they can't decide what they want, but if it looks good and shiny, they're going to take it because they're assholes, and they're assholes to their core, and that's, everybody knows it, and we're looking at you. So I mean,
And those assholes start the shit. Those assholes
right.
are the ones that incite the shit. Those assholes are the ones that riot and loot. But guess who is like the biggest pussy ass bitch of all?
Well, that would be our president.
Tangerine Toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murray, you know what he did? I'm an Episcopalian. I am not a cradle Episcopalian, but since I was 9 years old, we are the Christian left. We are not the people that are snake handling and Kool-Aid drinking. We are the Christian. We are the Jesus freaks. Okay, our Bishop Curry is such a loving man. And to see him get riled up yesterday was stunning. The president of the United States declared war on holy ground yesterday. Reverend Gina Gerbasi, who is the Bishop of Washington, D.C., Trump had the streets cleared in front of St. John's Episcopal Church, where people had gathered peacefully to protest. The door and some of the vestibule had been damaged in a fire the day before, and Trump decided to clear out the streets of peaceful protesters with tear gas and rubber bullets so that he could march around holding a Bible upside down and declare that the insurrection would end. Because he wants to go after
with military force.
With military force, he went to holy ground, to sacred ground. If he had been an Episcopalian, if he understood our denomination, number one, he would never have done that. Number two, he would have been holding a Book of Common Prayer, not a Bible, because we're not evangelicals, for God's sake. And if you don't know what that is, look up what a Book of Common Prayer is. It's the Bible, set up for us to use in our lay ministry, in our ministry. So we use it in a certain order. So, but to harm people on holy ground, to evict the people who are sitting on the patio of the rectory so he could have a photo op? Are you fucking serious? That's my denomination, and we don't play photo op. We don't play victim. We are fully cognizant of what the Greater Anglican Communion did in the name of the kings of England when we conquered America, and we have gone to great lengths to change who we are as a denomination and our purpose of peace. And to co-opt one of our churches, our holy ground, for a photo op is so disgusting. It's so disgusting. I can't. Hitler did shit like that.
I can't even begin to understand how you feel on a visceral level, because I don't have that same connection to religion. But that also makes me think that I can still feel for how incredibly fucked up that is, how horrible, how blasphemous, how hurtful to people of that faith, of that religion, to people of all faith, how using the violent rhetoric in that capacity is mind-blowingly ridiculous. And that's kind of where we are with Black Lives Matter, is I've never had to face that racism, yes, sexism, yes, being assaulted, yes, being threatened with my job, yes, being fired because I had a vagina, sure. But I've never had to worry that when my 17-year-old boy goes out the door at 8 o'clock at night, he's going to get pulled over or shot.
My 34-year-old son has never been pulled over by the color of his skin. In his life. But everyone.
And yet I can feel.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk over you, but I'm so mad. So.
I get it, girl. Girl, it's not important. I guess my point is that just because I am not Unitarian, Universalarian.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, Unitarian.
Unitarian, okay. I can see how unbelievably wrong it was on so many levels. And just because I'm not black, I can see how unbelievably wrong systemic racism is on many levels. But so that's why it is terrifying when you have these ridiculous photo ops and these battle decrees. So afterwards he calls the National Guard and the military troops into DC.
Right.
To lock it down. To shut down
because
DC.
He's stuck in that colonial mentality of oppression.
Well, yeah, why did he do that?
To oppress, to dominate, to control, because it's an ego boost stroke for him.
And it's a veiled threat. And it's a bully saying, I'm going to do this to you states, because he doesn't need a governor to do it to DC, because they don't have a governor.
Right.
So then he pulls out the Insurrection Act, right? The Insurrection Act, 1807?
Yes.
Which is and while...
It was to prevent the War of 1812 that happened anyway, but, so... Sorry. We'll do history another day.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think, when we talk about using antiquated, archaic... I mean, we do. Tear gas is not legal in war. We can't use tear gas when we're fighting an enemy on foreign soil.
Right.
Yet we can use it on our citizens.
And flashbangs. And rubber bullets that put out eyes. And damage people, harm people forever. Forever maim people. Just because you have a rubber bullet doesn't mean you should use it.
And we can attack journalists in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Because we want to hide what's really going on.
Well, we're certainly not talking about the pandemic, are we?
No, we're certainly not talking about the 107,000 people who've lost their lives and the copious amounts of spiking cases.
20% unemployment. People hungry.
We're not talking about the unemployment that is worse since the Great Depression.
Yep. We're not talking about that.
No, we're not. But we are talking about taking the American military and weaponizing it against the American people.
Shooting and killing.
And not just weaponizing it against the American people for any valid reason other than power and control. And yes, Trump is fucking crazy, and yes, in his little batshit banana pants dance he did yesterday,
I can't believe he walked that far.
The Chiefs of Staff is in charge. The Joint Chiefs of Staff job is to be the legal counsel to the president and manage veterans' pets or something. He doesn't have any real anything, but
no.
So nobody really knows what's going on. Yet
Trump doesn't understand government, Marie. He doesn't know how this stuff works. He is clueless.
But those behind him.
Well, so they manipulate him.
And they're manipulating him into doing these things. And so what was, we mentioned General Miley, we mentioned Mark Esper. We've talked about these folks before.
Yeah.
So when he was on that call with the governors, Mark Esper, the Secretary of Defense, was being interviewed, and what he said was chilling, but I'm not sure how many people really caught what terrified me. So Trump had said, we're bringing in the troops, we're doing whatever we want, Secretary, I'm all positive for it. He said, the American streets have become a battle space. And his direct quote was, I think the sooner that you mass dominate the battle space, the quicker this dissipates, and we can get back, and here's what's terrifying, to the right normal. So let me say that together without the pause. I think it's sooner you mass and dominate the battle space, the quicker this dissipates and we can get back to the right normal. The right normal. What is the right normal? The right normal is a white male power structure of control and domination. That is what he wants.
Oh, yeah.
When you saw that photo op, he called all, when you saw
dog
it,
whistle.
White. There was no faith leader there. There was no prayer set.
No, she'd been evicted. The faith leader in that space had been evicted from that space, Murray, so that he could dominate that too. You don't dominate people when you're the president. You unite and you bring together. And he has no clue to do that. And when he talks about white, right, veiled, the dog whistles to his alt-right supporters, he doesn't talk about Matthew Rupert from Galesburg, who went to Madison, Wisconsin with pipe bombs to blow it up, who's white. He doesn't talk about Wesley Summers, who tried to blow up the Nashville courthouse. He doesn't talk about those white men that are doing most of the damage, that are breaking the windows, that are provocateurs.
Who set in our own hood, who set the historic library on fire?
Yeah. It was white people that are doing the damage, that are doing the looting. Yes, a few black people are involved, but most of the ringleaders...
Because of this stupid colonialism and this culture that has been built since the beginning of this country...
We're blaming it on black people. We're blaming it on black people.
We need to change the education system because our history is so whitewashed.
Yep.
It is, that's another episode that we're going to talk about, is what we can do.
What we can do. Black History Month should be every month should be we should teach the history of our nation. And that includes
the true history of our nation.
The true history, which includes the black people, the slaves that built the Washington Memorial. That was not built by white Union labor. That was built by black slave labor, beaten into submission to move blocks of limestone into place to honor a white president that owned slaves. I'm just saying.
Our history is sordid, and we are young as a nation, and there's time to change it. There's time to right this ship, and it's going to take all of us.
Amen.
Working together, fighting to make change, and not just bring attention to an issue, but take it to that next level, and have black people in positions of leadership in every aspect of our life. Because that is how we're going to make change. We need to think about those things, which I can't wait till we do that next episode. But I just, overall, I want to make sure that my friends I'm sorry, now I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my friends who are black, or acquaintances who are black, or people I don't even know who are black, I want you to know that you have an ally in us. Mm-hmm. In me, in my family. I see you. I know it's wrong, and I will fight for you.
Yep.
Because nothing that is going on is right. Nothing about this is right.
Nothing. No part of this. George Floyd was a catalyst for the hurt and anger since 1649 in this country. And we've had these catalysts before. But I pray to God that this is the catalyst for real change.
It's the last.
It's the last time. And Marie, how many times have I said that in my lifetime? This will be the last time. This will be the last time.
Never is.
It never is. And the change starts with white people. It starts with us. I couldn't be more white. I did my DNA. I could not be more white European. And I know you're not religious, but at the heart of my religious training, at the heart of the values that I was raised with, is that God makes us all different so we won't be bored with one another, so we can admire creation in all the colors and flavors it comes in. And we have to understand that our world is not white, that our world is not black and white. It is all of us. And each of us needs all of us to make this world work. I'm tired
and there
of
are
crying.
a lot more of us.
Yeah. I'm tired
that
of
believe
crying.
what you believe.
I'm tired of crying for people who never got a chance, who never had a chance. Like those children that I saw yesterday. What would those brilliant children be with every opportunity that I had and didn't take advantage of?
Yep. So, guys, we kind of ended on a
Sorry, I'm crying again.
on a somber note.
Yeah.
No, I'm tearing up too. But you got to fight, and we are going to continue to fight. And our next episode we're going to release early. It's going to be amazing because it is 100 things that you can do if you don't want to protest. If you're afraid of the rioting, it's ways to change your thinking. Stop the fear mongering. It's ways to look at your own implicit bias. And then we're going to talk about serious, meaningful legislative change that needs to happen to reform our justice system. So thank you guys for joining us, and please reach out, but be an ally. Be an ally. Let our friends of color, let our brothers and sisters know that you're not going to take it. You're not going to allow it to happen. So please, like, subscribe, and share. Share this episode. Heartland Mamas. MAMAS.com.
Yeah.
And on Demcast. And Heidi?
I'm going to need more Kleenex. Yeah. I do every day. Every day, Marie. All right. Take care now, everybody. See you later.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.